sun will shine bright. Tell me your story. When that keeps me falling asleep at your own. Maybe our hearts will stop mourning, 'cause tragedy's boring now that I found you.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Post-Mortems. It's been a while since we've done one of these in earnest. Today what we are going to be doing is discussing Wolves 0, Manchester City 4. Why was City so bloody good against Wolves? Is it just a case of it was just Wolves, or is there more to it than meets the eye? We'll be talking about how City set up on ball, off ball, the individual performances, and how repeatable these actions are going to be across the course of the Premier League season. If you are entering the stream, please make sure to leave a like on the video. This stream is sponsored today by NordVPN. Shout out to them for sponsoring today's video. We will be hearing from them a bit more later. Stay tuned for that. Guys, 4-0. Big up. Big up to us. I predicted 2-0, and I thought that was, I'm not optimistic, but it's always dangerous predicting a clean sheet for Manchester City in 2025. It's always dangerous predicting a clean sheet, but I did do so. I did think we were going to do it, and I thought that it was overall, just an absolutely fantastic game. There are so many interesting things to talk about today, including like the potential incomings. I know it's early days, but lots of people are saying, do we even need these incomings? We'll get on with that. We'll discuss that, sorry. And how just genuinely really happy I was. Not even like, obviously the performance, obviously the result, but also I can really see a beautiful vision of what this City side could become. And it's very early days, but right now it is looking like the side that I kept talking about in the summer. This is the side that we could make. Who knows what will happen with Pep? Like, will he change it, or will he not play players where I want him to play them? But based on this game, a lot of the pieces have fallen into place, and we will see if that is something that we're able to repeat throughout the season. How are we all doing today, though, guys? Because this is, after all, an interactive stream. It's going to be a little back and forth situation, of course. Raphael is happy that we got Shirky. Absolutely. Let's Be Avenue says Leon definitely. Why isn't my... Can I bring the comments up? There we go. I can do it there. Can I do it here as well? What if I close that and bring it back up? I want to bring the comments up through here. Is that something I can do? This says not the finished article. Absolutely. And we'll get into that. And that's a really interesting point. This City side can get a lot better. Early season's always hard to predict with players settling in 100%. Hello, Matty. Wait for the Spurs result, says my memories. I don't know what that means, sorry. Some dodgy moments in the match, not jumping to any conclusions. I'd be happy with 3 points for now. I don't want Donnarumma. Interesting, Zeno. What are your thoughts? Why do you not want him? Let me know. That would be interesting, actually. Because I think we always sort of like to start these with the lineup and back to front and shape and whatnot. Just like a general question. This isn't a loaded question, I promise, because my opinion hasn't changed. What was your stance on the goalkeeper situation before the match? Who did you want to be our number one next season? And has your opinion changed at all? That would be interesting. Because I know some people who want Donnarumma now want Trafford based on that match. I don't know if I'd personally base it off of one game, but that is a thing. So who did you want to be starting as England, as City's number one? And who do you now want it to be? Has it changed at all? That would be interesting to note. Because I thought Trafford had a good game. thought Trafford had a really good game, to be honest with you. Lewis should not be sold, says Afan. Yeah, for some reason my chat thing's not working over there, only over here. Okay, fine. With Roger in front and Gavada to come, what a performance. Absolutely, Anthony, absolutely agreed. Some of our best players still need to come into the side. Rodri, one of our best players. Foden, one of our best players. Gvardia, one of our best players. There is a world where it gets better. There is a world where it gets better. And that is promising for City. Of course, that was also the case last year, where we still had Rodri to come back into the side, and we all know what happened there. But the difference is, my word, the difference is, we actually now have a midfield that can survive in the absence of Rodri. And that all and that's why the title of this video is the Rodri-Less midfield. And actually, I think that's maybe where I want to start, because man of the match was obviously Reinders. Of course it was. Of course it was. However, underrated man of the match. Nobbins is underrated man of the match, i.e. like the player who's never going to really win it. Nico Gonzalez. Goodness me, wasn't he good? Wasn't he so lovely? That is clearly what City should be doing now every single time Rodri isn't available. Assuming those players are available, of course, like Nico went down towards the end, but it looked like it was just like an impact with the arm, so hopefully he's going to be fine. Let's touch on Nico for a moment, and then we'll get into Reinders, and then we'll talk on like the rest of the team, shape, whatnot. Nico isn't a 6. He's not a defensive midfielder. That's the first thing to note. That is the first thing to note, and we all know that. We should know that anyway. Viewers of this channel will definitely know that, because you've all watched my analysis video of him. So he's never going to be perfect in that 6 role, in that Rodri area of the pitch, obviously. Now that could come with time, of course. But he doesn't need to be perfect. He just needs to be serviceable in that position whilst Rodri is away. And in the interim, and even if he was a competent understudy, pair him with the right midfield partners. So today, City had that midfield 3, the midfield 3 that I wanted to see from this game. I really wanted to see in a Rodri-less midfield the trio of Nico, Reinders, and Bernardo Silva. That midfield has a little bit of everything. Now, it's not going to be the level of a midfield that includes Rodri, obviously, or maybe a more attacking player in there, but the balance is just there. And we know, going off last season, City had 0 balance. Absolutely none. Zilch. 0. You see that? You see that? None. Why not err on the side of caution in respect of the midfield and have that perfect balance there? So with Nico Gonzalez, you have the best 6-8 hybrid option. You have someone who is a very good progressor of the ball and very good at carrying it. Nowhere near the level of Rodri from those deeper positions, but he's getting better at it. Absolutely. He is, based on this game anyway, he's already improving in respect of receiving the ball under pressure and turning with it. A lot better, obviously, in the more advanced areas, but it will come with time being better in those deeper areas. Really good point there by Zubair. And then the whole midfield as well. They were all covering so much ground and so much distance. What did City miss last season? You know, players who were able to physically do that and to physically run up and down the pitch and cover ground, whether at speed or just generally, to be honest with you. And that is exactly what Nico provides in that side. He is... I will never forgive the people who try to write him off for whatever reason after like a few months. People saying that he wasn't good enough or whatever, or we should sell him immediately, or he's got no future here. That sort of thing. You're insane if you ever really believed that And hopefully this game has illustrated that. He was fantastic off the ball. There were some moments where he could have been better on ball, no doubt. I think sometimes there was a pass where like Reinders made a really good run and Nico wasn't feeling the pass. There's another time where he fizzed it into Bernardo's feet and Bernardo didn't really want it in that position. You can say, well, maybe Bernardo should have controlled it better, but it was a tricky chance to be able to try to take under his control. So the decision-making in those moments does need to be better, but again, this comes with time, in the position, and in the role. It is not fair to judge him by Rodri standards when he's literally in his first proper season with City, and he is, again, he's an 8. He's not a 6. His best games will actually come when Rodri's on the pitch as well. We will see that. And I think that in really big matches, there's no reason why you can't have Rodri and Nico and Reinders just to really shore up that midfield. But as I say, that midfield had everything. Nico we've discussed. Bernardo, who is always that really industrious engine sort of player, whatever you may think of him. And Reinders, who, man of the match. But obviously, that first goal, I know that he wasn't... wait. Lou says, brother, you're acting like he wasn't good. What, me? What, Nico? Hello? You talking to me? Or... You're acting like he wasn't good. I'm so sorry, I don't understand. I've just... If you talk about me and Nico, I just said that I was really happy with his performance and he was brilliant. He would have been my underrated man of the match. I'm very confused. Apologies if I've misunderstood that. Yeah, Reinders, wonderful. That first goal. I know he wasn't technically. He wouldn't have got a goal. He wouldn't have got an assist. But once again, that is something that has been missing. That was missed. Sorry, from City last season. Absolutely. He provides really excellent penetrative central carries. You've known that if you watch him at Milan, you would have known that, of course. If you watch my analysis video, you'd have known that as well. It's just that it's that little bit of extra bravery that is sometimes needed. Yeah, a pre-assist, exactly. And there were times last season where you could tell City were scared to lose the ball. And that's because they knew that they were baby food in transition. They knew they didn't have the legs in the midfield. So you had players you normally associate with like taking some of those risks, not actually even wanting to take them, or you had players who were the other end and were cautious in any event. Reinders is a brave player, first of all. He's a very, very brave player. But also, there's just I feel like there's more of a collective security because we know that midfield is a lot more industrious and a lot more better out of possession and rest defense-wise and on the counter-attack compared to what we had last season. So Reinders, again, maybe it's just on an individual level, but I also think collectively as well, like Nico as well, like making really positive moves forwards. Oh, sorry, Lee. That's my bad. I was very confused. That's my... yeah, sometimes there is a delay. I apologise. I was really confused. What's going on? What's going on? And to get away from his marker, and of course, the dink isn't really what... I mean, nothing about the move really surprised me. I guess it was just really refreshing. And that's such a simple thing to do. Just be a bit brave, carry the ball forwards a bit, and now you're in a great position, like dribble past your man. Have some confidence that your team will back you if you end up losing it. And sometimes we did lose it in those positions, but we always know that it can be high risk, high reward. And ultimately, we got a great rewards, didn't we? Shout out to Lewis as well, who was all over the place in a good way. I think I agree, Musty, yeah. He was all over the place in a good way. Sometimes he was popping up in like a quarterback position, like between the centre-backs. Sometimes he was in that central three. Sometimes he was popping up into the half spaces. he's such a good player in terms of finding the correct areas of space. He knew exactly what Reinders wanted to do. He made himself available, and the ball as a whole and it is obviously perfect. Puts it on a plate for him. Lewis had to have a good game today. I know I've drifted slightly. I want to talk about the midfield a little bit more, but just an aside, Lewis had to have a good game today because the amount of shit that he got last year was, in my opinion, unfair. And the amount of shit that he's been getting the past couple of days and today, like when people saw that he was linked to Forest, massive negative backlash if you suggested that you were upset with him leaving or being linked away. Excuse me. And again, starting today. I was confused at him starting, but I could understand it because I was like, right, but Lewis still provides a lot of tactical flexibility and fluidity when he starts at right back. And he showcased that today. It's just really reinforced my take that it would be an error to let him go. He provides a different tool for City. We would not be able to play like that today without him starting today. He provides a totally different tactical tool for City, a very valuable player as a squad option, and I really do hope that he stays. I thought he had a fantastic game. Can't remember him having to do much defensively, but when he was called into action, he sorted it out. Of course, he's tidy on the ball. Again, the movement was wonderful, and I was really, really happy with that. I was really, really happy with that. Rico Lewis. Again, really happy for him. He got the assist, of course, and he was, even without the assist, he was just really good in general. So shout out to Rico Lewis as well. Just going back to Reinders for a moment. This is where I want to have a conversation about system. And by the way, guys, make sure you're leaving a like on the stream because it is free and it does help support your boy. I feel very giddy today. Oh, I was a bit concerned. This isn't about the match. I was a bit concerned that because the Club World Cup happened, and then I was like on holiday, and I came back, and like a few days later, I was like, oh, the Premier League's starting in a couple of weeks. I was really, really concerned that I was gonna, and I really wasn't up for it. I was like, I want another few weeks off, and this week of the transfer window has been really playing on my brain. I don't understand what's going on. So I was concerned I was going to experience some burnout at the start of the season. Oh, even like before a ball was kicked, I was well up for it. And the football just made it even better. So brief aside, as I say, I wasn't sure in my brain as to whether I was going to have as much exuberance this season compared to last, but I think we're going to have even more, if anything. I'm refreshed. I'm up for it. I'm loving the vibes. It's a good time. Back to Reinders. As I say, I'm quite giddy right now. Maybe it's the Pepsi Max. Reinders. Shall I tell you what I liked the most about Reinders today? And guys, let me tell you. No, you tell me. What was your favourite thing about Reinders' performance today? Because he got a goal, which was fantastically taken with the weak foot. Unbelievable. He got an assist. Wonderful play, finding Haaland. Of course, fantastic connection there. The thing that I loved the most about the Reinders performance today. Again, this can sound really nerdy and really weird. Just everything. It was his positioning. It was the positions that he took up on the pitch when City were on the ball and indeed off the ball as well. Now, in the opening sort of like 10, 15, 20-ish minutes, I was very confused as to what City were doing, like where he was playing, because sometimes Reinders was popping up of like left of centre, like in deeper areas. Sometimes he was as part of the front five. To really advance. And then sometimes he was also like popping up on the right hand side. I couldn't pinpoint where he was going, and then add that to like Lewis floating all over the place. It made it tricky to like in my head pinpoint like what the actual technical shape is. Shape and formation isn't the be all and end all, but for me it helps my brain understand like in my head, right, that player should be there generally. As I say, it's not the be all and end all. It does really help my brain. But generally speaking, overall, and this is not in dispute, Reinders, for the most part, was playing right of centre. That is big to me. That is big. Now, why? If you watch my... I don't know why I'm doing this with my hands. If you watch my Reinders analysis video, then you will know that for the most part, Reinders played the left of centre for the vast majority of his AC Milan career. It was him on the left, and he had Fofana, his partner, to that right-hand side. However, for some games for Milan, some games for the Netherlands as well, he did play out on the right side. And the beauty of Reinders is that his weak foot, I mean, we saw how good his weak foot was, the fantastic finish. Exactly, Spartacus, exactly. That's where I want him. Certainly off ball a little bit deeper maybe, but yeah, totally. He's played those positions before, and as I say, because of his really strong weak foot, and we saw how good it was with that fantastic goal, it doesn't really matter where you play him. So the vast majority, if you know, like, this is how I want City to line up next season, starting 11s. Basically, every single one I saw had Reinders left central midfield. I don't think I saw anyone that had Reinders right central midfield, apart from mine. Now, the reason why and that's why I'm really, really happy that Reinders is going to potentially, who knows, maybe it's only the first game, but it goes to show that he can absolutely play primarily off the right of centre and still... And absolutely must, yeah. The goal, the assist, the pre-assist, he's collecting them all. He's collecting them all like a fucking Pokemon trainer, like Ash Ketchum. Yeah, he's getting all of them. This is really good for me because what I really want to see from City this season is the right central midfielder to be right-footed and the left central midfielder to be left-footed. So to me, I can play what I think we can play what I believe is our best side. Absolutely, he was right of centre for the most part. I mean, definitely. That was off ball and it was on ball as well. Of course, a bit more advanced. Oh, sorry, Spartacus, you did as well. Fair play. I apologise. Fair play as well. Tactical fluidity is what I want, and that was what I was so happy with today. Because exactly, the weak foot is not as good as Shirky's, but it's a really strong weak foot. It doesn't really have that angle bias, as we say. He doesn't have that, I must play everything on my right foot. He's pretty chill on the left. Again, look at his finish. It was absolutely fantastic. That gives so many options to City. So sometimes, sure, he might play on the left, but I would love the idea of him playing out on that right-hand side. I think someone mentioned it early. He was linking up fantastically well with Bob, with Lewis. It was absolutely wonderful to see. And again, I think the fact that Guardiola trusted him at right central midfield, despite him being primarily a left central midfielder, to me, that means the possibilities are exponentially increased for City tactically, and what could be the ultimate ceiling of this squad and of the City players. So that's the midfield. That was the midfield. Reinders obviously man of the match. Nico was my underrated man of the match because he was absolutely wonderful. Wrestling Omar says Bernardo did a bunch of nothing. I think Bernardo did I thought he was fine today, to be honest with you. I'm not going to say he was brilliant. I'm not going to say it was like amazing and brilliant, but I think he did a job today. Matty, that is what I want to see personally. Again, I like the idea of that. I thought Bernardo was fine. Again, he's not going to... What was an amazing performance, but he did his job, and it was absolutely fine there. Wonderful. So yeah, so the shape today from City was, again, it was a lot of things went Nobbins' way today. I was very happy today. It was the 2-3-5, and I think we all basically expected that was going to happen. It didn't happen in the way I thought it was going to happen, to be fair. I really thought that Nori was going to push up to the wing, and that he would be rotating with Doku. Honorary rather than like underrated, whatever the term is. Yeah, he's my non-man of the match. Does that make sense? Like if you said, okay, who do you think should be man of the match, but you can't say someone obvious, like so obviously Reinders is the obvious choice, I'd go Nico personally. Yes, it wasn't created the way that I thought it would be our build-up. Because when I saw Aït-Nouri, again, I thought Aït-Nouri left wing, rotating with Doku, that sort of thing. But it was a double inversion situation for the most part. Again, Lewis was floating all over the place. So sometimes it was right of centre, sometimes it was between the centre-backs, sometimes he was attacking that right half space and a bit more advanced. But for the most part, in the main on ball, it was you had Ait Nori pushing into the centre, you had Lewis pushing into the centre, so you had Nico centrally, and then ahead of them you would have Doku, Bernardo, Haaland, Reinders, and Bob. Again, sometimes it was slightly different. Sometimes it was Lewis where Reinders was, that sort of thing. But generally, we can say that as a general shape, that sort of thing. Now, that's not my preferred way to create this shape. I don't think that's optimal, personally, for the most part, because I do, as much as I liked Lewis's performance, I think Nunes probably should play, for the most part, at right back. I also appreciate that Nori can play in the centre. Wonderful stuff, of course. It was a little bit quiet today. That's not to say he was bad. I thought in the second half he came more into his own, was really good defensively. I totally agree, Natando. When Wolves came a bit further forward, Ait Nori had more work to do. Ait Nori was fantastic at all the work he was expected to do. But yeah, on ball, I would have liked, in going forwards, I know there's so much more that Ait Nori can offer. He is a great option to have in the centre, but I believe we are going to see the best of Ait Nori when he's allowed to just be a more like traditional sort of like fullback / wingback / winger, whatever you want to say. But yeah, IDK 100%. He was tidy in possession, defensively solid today, defensively great today. Just didn't have that attacking impetus that I know he has. And maybe at Coltrane, absolutely, maybe that's just because Doku started. But that being said, I have seen matches we saw at the Club World Cup where Doku played centrally and Ait Nori out wide. So I would have maybe liked to seen a bit more rotation. So maybe Bernardo dropping a little bit. That allows Doku to take Bernardo's position. That allows Ait Nori to take Doku's position. I think that may have been a little bit nicer. If we can't see it in the main, some more rotations could have been nice. But again, notice how giddy I am, but also notice how many options I'm talking about here. When you sign players like Ait Nori, and you sign players like Reinders, and you have players in the squad like Rico Lewis, and you have all these other great options on the bench like Nico O'Reilly who came on. There are so many tactical options, lineups that City are able to do, and that's the beauty of having players in your squad who could do a multitude of roles in a multitude of positions. That's exactly what Guardiola wants. That is what we should all want as well. It creates moments and matches like this. And again, potential discussions and conversation points as well. We'll stick to that left side for a moment. And yes, if there is one player where I felt that they were not that good, it is Doku. He had a great Club World Cup. That's the first thing to say. He did have a great Club World Cup. I'm not willing to, abandon the concept of Doku just because today he had a bad game. I think relative to what I would expect, not bad, below average. It's certainly below average. It's not what I expect from Doku. He really struggled in the 1v1s. I can't really recall him. That sounds so mean. I can't recall him doing anything. Like, I'm trying to think of like what was like, because normally, even if it doesn't lead to anything, like Doku always like beats his man and like gets to a really good position. I might just be misremembering, but I can't really remember him doing much. And in fairness, he didn't really have the support of, Ait Nori overlapping him. He was a little bit isolated against the back five. Does that make it a bit tricky for him? Because in a back five, it's easier for the back five team to be better out wide. Therefore, it's a bit tricky for Doku. Yeah, exactly. Usually maybe a little bit isolated. And maybe that's all it is. And maybe that's all it is. So I'm not willing to say that, Doku was shit and that sort of thing. IDK says, it was just a bad performance, didn't do anything all game and only completed one dribble all game. Yeah, and that is mad for Doku, because Doku's always, is that right, on the dribbling stats? Let's have a look. I love it. I love how FootMob's got physical performance now. Big up to that. Yeah, successful dribbles. So he only attempted 3. He only attempted 3 as well. I'd like to see him isolated less, but in fairness, Doku has been a player where we do like to isolate him sometimes. So again, I'm not going to read too much into it. It was just a subpar performance. Nothing wrong with it. I personally wouldn't have started him. I would have started Marmoush personally, but that's the thing. I still think we're at the stage in Doku's career where he is someone who you don't start immediately necessarily. I still think that, again, if it's the choice of Doku or Marmoush off that left side, to me, we should be looking more at Marmoush starting, that sort of thing. That's my take anyway. That's my opinion on that. But I still really like I still really like Doku, of course, and just an off game. Just an off game from him. It's not a problem. It's not a problem at all. Yeah, big up Marmoush. That's my boy. You guys watch 6 months of Marmoush and think he should be on the bench. I absolutely do not think that personally. No shot. He starts for me. The fact he can command the attention to players when on the ball is immense. It's similar to how Holland occupies centre-backs off the ball. Yes, he does indeed draw players to him 100%. Again, it just wasn't a great game. I will say that if I was to have like a proper criticism of him, there were moments where in that first half in particular, Aït-Nouri needed a little bit more defensive support at times, because like Wolves were getting I know basically every single one was offside, but Raphael, I wouldn't have played Marmoush like that. I would have had Marmoush in the centre and Aït-Nouri pushing up to the left, so I wouldn't have actually had him isolated, in fairness. There were a couple moments where Aït-Nouri needed a bit more support defensively, and Doku was not. I saw Bob coming back, tracking back, and Doku did do it a lot, but it wasn't enough to me. There were some moments. There were some moments where I was like, "Where's my left winger? Where is he? What's going on?" That did upset me a little bit. That would be my key critique of Doku today. Sometimes he didn't track back as much as I would have liked to have seen. Absolutely. But it's a thing. Not everyone can have a brilliant game. This just happened to be a subpar one from Doku. It's not a problem. And exactly, Musty. He does normally track back. That's why I was so confused, because like Doku's been getting a lot better at tracking back. Like, where is he? But in this game, there were moments where it wasn't good enough. So yeah, thankfully we're able to deal with it. And of course, yeah, Dave, absolutely. This is early season. Anything can happen. City might go to absolute dog shit, you know, or we just get even better. Of course, there's going to be early season wrinkles either way. So I'm not concerned. It's a thing. It's all good. Haaland, great, did his job, scored the goals that needed to be scored. Could have actually had a third if Bernardo's ball was a little bit better. You know, that cross. The commentator was questioning whether Haaland jumped too early. I just think there was just too much height on the ball, to be honest with you. So yeah, Haaland did really good. Again, good runs, occupies defenders. We know what Haaland does. If you feed him the chances and he scores the goals, you're going to have a good time. The only time you can really critique Haaland truly is when like he's not making the correct movement or he's a bit lazy out of possession. I didn't have any of those problems today. Absolutely not. I thought he was fantastic. He did the job. He's now on 87 Premier League goals. We established that is the same as Dennis Bergkamp. Dennis Bergkamp, guys, one of the greatest players the Premier League has ever seen. One of the greatest players the Premier League has ever seen. Yeah? And Haaland, in however many less games, is already on 87. He's going to be on like 115 or something by the end of the season. Something like that, around like the 110 to 115 mark. Like, absolutely mental. That's a question. I'm not going to touch too much on Haaland because I feel like there's not too much to say on him. How many goals does Haaland get in the Premier League this season? Let me know. Coach YP asks, if Marmoush starts on the left, will he be able to track back to help with the defence? Marmoush might be our best worker out of possession. Might be the best worker out of possession. I actually don't think I could name a better presser and off-ball worker than Marmoush. So yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Do not have a problem with that. This is just, sorry, this is, to say, Premier League specifically, sorry, I should have specified, apologies. Premier League specifically, how many Premier League goals is Erling Haaland going to get? When we did, do you remember when we did that, how many goals do we need to win the Premier League thing? We had Haaland at 28. I think we undersold him. To be honest. He could easily get into the 30s. He could easily get into the 30s, couldn't he? You guys saying 33, 24, 30, 33, 37, 31, 31, 38. Oh my gosh, 40, 32, 40, okay, 50 in the league. Okay, Musty, fairs, man. 30 plus. I think he should be targeting 30 in the league, minimum, really. He's already got 2. And we're now not a dysfunctional piece of shit side. Preferably, hopefully. Yeah. Should we touch on the defense? I mean, I haven't even talked about. There's so much to talk. I haven't touched about Oscar Bob yet. It was also wonderful. It was also wonderful. Well, I'll save Bob for a bit because I feel like that might have something to play. But I'll save Trafford and Bob towards the end because I feel like they could be the players most impacted by the potential incomings that we're bringing in. So let me touch on the defense first of all. Rico Lewis. I've touched on him already. He got the assist. He was fantastic. And yeah, it's so important that he... I think it's really important that he stays at City. If City get another right back, then I'm not going to complain about it from that perspective. But let me just outline my thoughts because I tweeted I'd be upset if Lewis left and people didn't get why I'd be upset. Someone said... well, you don't want Rodrigo, but you do want Lewis to stay. Like, why do you want... Rodrigo's a better player. Why? So what's going on? I didn't really get the comparison. I was very confused. I thought it was a troll question. Didn't really get it. But let me try to outline why I think it would be an error to let go of Lewis. And it's not just based on this game, but this game he was very good. Let's all agree on that. This is the world where City don't recruit in the position that they desperately need to recruit in the most. We all know that right back is City's weakest position of the pitch. Not necessarily in respect of personnel, although I would say, like a starter, although I would say that's still correct to say, but certainly in respect of options out there. We have no right back. Our best right back is a midfielder. Our second and third best right backs are a midfielder and a centre back. And then from there, you're looking at more centre backs. So we still don't really have a right back. It's not ideal. They also all, I would say, the top 3, based on the players we have right now, there are 3 key right back options that City have. 3. We've got Núñez. We've got Akanji, we've got Lewis. Now, what's interesting about all 3 of those options is that they all offer something entirely different to one another. You've got Núñez, who is the right back who is capable of pushing up to the wings, allowing whoever's playing on the right to tuck inside. So you could easily play Shirky at right wing, pop Núñez at right back, tuck in Shirky, so he's actually playing more centrally like he did today when he came on. So he's technically starting at right wing, but really... It's in possession. Only Núñez can offer that. Akanji can't offer that, and Lewis can't offer that, because we've all seen Lewis try to play at right wing, and it was dog shit. No offense, but Lewis is not that sort of player. He's not able to provide width, like unless he massively somehow elevates his game. That's not the sort of player that he is. Akanji, what does Akanji provide at right back? Well, we can't provide that, but what can he do? First of all, he is good defensively at right back generally. I know there's been some and ahs about that, but in general, he's better at right back than certainly better at right back than centre back. Less to think about. But what does he do on ball for City? He allows City to play a back 3 in possession when you're still playing Ait-Nouri. So Ait-Nouri can push up. Now you have 3 centre backs at the back. Sometimes there will be games we want to play a 3-2 rather than a 2-3. So it's very important to me, that City actually keep Akanji because there is no other player who can really do that. Maybe Stones, but I don't want Stones to be our only defensive option out at right back there. You might say Kusanov. You all know my thoughts on Kusanov at right back. Thank you so much, Rowan. That is a massive upgrade. Thank you so much, matey. Love that from you. Thank you so much for wanting to support the channel like that. Love your profile picture, by the way. Big up to you, Rowan. W's in the chat for Rowan upgrading to Hardcore Ultra. That's the highest tier of Nabinho Ultra. And that means if you want to, Rowan, you can now join the phone-ins at halftime in the matches. In the matches? Yeah, when we are doing our watch-alongs. Thank you so much, Rowan. You are a beautiful human being. And I love that horse profile picture. You cheeky little guy. So Akanji provides the option to go 3-2, 3 centre-backs at the back, which Nunes can't do, and Lewis can't do. So Akanji offering something entirely different to Nunes, and then Lewis, who once again offers something entirely different to those 2 centre-backs. Neither Akanji nor Nunes, despite Nunes being a midfielder, are going to be able to do what Lewis did today, where he was picking up all sorts of areas all over the pitch. It didn't really matter where he received the ball, he was tidy in possession, and he was able to identify those pockets of space to be able to attack. Akanji can't do that, Nunes can't do that. So we've got 3 different right backs with 3 different skill sets and 3 different ways of allowing City to play completely different ways. Lewis also allows City to play a 2-3 when Nunes isn't on the pitch, as we saw today. That's one of the only other ways City can play like today, a 2-3. If Nunes ain't on the pitch, the only other option is Nunes, unless you want to like pop Stones at right back and bank on him being fit and then try to pop him in the centre, in midfield. I guess that would technically work, but it's not something I really want to see, to be honest with you. So that's my thoughts on Rico Lewis. Very, 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 very happy with him. Very, very, very happy with him. Absolute king, absolute cutie, absolute queen. The defence, just more generally. Touch Night Nori, haven't I? I was happy with him. Can't speak. Yeah, I was happy with Nori. Again, would have maybe liked to have seen a bit more going forwards, but I get it. I understand that wasn't what was being asked of him today. I'm going to talk about Trafford and Bob at the end because I want to have a wider discussion about the incomings coming in. So let's now touch on Stones and Diaz, shall we? Stones and Diaz. Oh, yeah, John. He does this every single king time. I keep saying it's time to move on. We've got to let go. We've got to get away from Stones. But every single time, he ropes me back in. He ropes me back in with performances like this. Yeah, I agree, Musty. Everything he did today was really good. It was really good. Whether it was bringing the ball out from the back. In fact, there was one moment, I thought it was Nico Gonzalez bringing it out from the back. I said, Nico, and when the chat rightly corrected me, it was like, no, Nobbins, that was Stones. It's like, oh shit, yeah. So he's doing like midfielder levels of ball progression there, which we know he can obviously do. Can't recall him making a single error, really. I'm sure he did misplace a pass, but I can't recall it. He was even trying right half space crosses at one point. So big up to you for exactly, yeah, must see his half space crosses, yeah. I love how he was trying that. He was solid on the counter and the rest defense as well, and we know you've got to be. If you're only having a back two on ball, you better be solid rest defense wise, and Stones was absolutely key and locked into that. He's and it's such a big if. Yeah, sorry, Jack. It's such a big if. I get it. if he can stay fit, our defensive solidity goes up by a ridiculous degree. A ridiculous degree. I think we are in agreement, you and I, that Stones is City's best defender, if fit. The problem is that we know that we can't rely or bank on that. That is the concern. That is the problem. And I mean, that's a great question. Who gets dropped? I think you have to drop Diaz. Because Gvardiol has to play. He has to play. I really... I know we're going to get onto the keeper in a moment. If we are getting Donnarumma, then we need to make sure that our back line is as perfect from a technical standpoint as possible. And the only way you can achieve that is by having a left footer at left centre-back. And that's not even having a chat about the fact that Stones is much better on ball than Diaz. And Gvardiol's better on ball than Diaz. It's a tricky one, I mean. Yeah, to be fair, Bernardo is the captain, but I do understand what you mean. But that doesn't mean that, Diaz never plays. But I would say that a fully fit John Stones should be starting for City. And I can't drop Gvardiol. I can't. So if again, it's a big if, but if Stones is able to stay fit, and I don't think that will happen, so I think this is a moot point. I think it's a moot point. But in an ideal world, I probably would do that. I probably would do that because I think, again, especially if you're bringing in a goalkeeper who's going to need his hand held by players who are far superior on the ball. If you're going to do that, then I think you sort of have to. I think you sort of have to do that. To be honest with you. Kyobi, yes, absolutely, mate. Absolutely, I think that. I've seen him do it. I totally think so. Why do you not think it will happen? I think, as much as I've just said that I think that Stones, because I basically see it as, who do you, I don't see it as a choice between Gvardiol Stones or Gvardiol Diaz. To me, Gvardiol's locked in. And you have that left-footed left centre-back. You have Gvardiol. So I do see it as a choice between Diaz and Stones. The reason why I don't think it will happen is because I think that there are certain intangibles in football, and I think that Diaz offers a lot of those intangibles. Now, today, for example, he wasn't perfect. But as much as I've just bigged up Stones there is no better box defender at City than Ruben Diaz. And sometimes, is it a case of balance, perhaps? Gvardiol and Stones, are they too similar? Am I getting ahead of myself? Am I actually now going to talk myself out of my own take? I actually think I might be about to do so. Stones and Diaz are not necessarily our two best defenders at the club. Because I'd argue that Gvardiol is maybe better than Diaz, perhaps. However, we could say that the partnership of Stones and Diaz is superior. Now, I don't think we've ever seen Gvardiol and Stones together as a back two. Because Gvardiol only really started playing centre-back last season, and Stones barely fucking played. He barely fucking played, didn't he? So I don't actually know if we've seen it, so they could absolutely form a partnership, but they are similar-ish in how they play, whereas Diaz offers something different, and I wonder whether Pep will favour that rather than going for two centre-backs who are a bit more similar to one another. Very good point, Coltrane. Absolutely spot on. Yes, when Aït-Nouri doesn't play, we will need someone to do that for us, won't we? So you're absolutely spot on with that. I've not spoken about Nico O'Reilly yet because I do want to touch on Nico O'Reilly as well. But I thought that again Diaz, he gave the ball away a couple of times. However, I thought that he was still solid defensively overall. A good positioning, body on the line at times. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Coltrane. That's why I do like them as a partnership, Diaz and Stones, or Diaz and Gvardiol. I do like that. DJ, it's a good point. I know he was great today, wasn't he? Milana, I'm going to assume that's a troll or something. I see why Pep has selection headaches with a big squad. Yes, indeed. Kusanov came on. Yeah, of course, he's an option there as well, isn't he? Good to see Kusanov get some minutes. It's still too early for him to be, starting and trying to, dethrone Ruben Diaz. It's still far too early, sorry, in his City career, but that is a thing. Again, I want to wait to touch on Trafford and Bob because I'm going to have a wider discussion about the transfers. So let's talk about the subs. Nunes came on, was fine. Didn't do too much wrong, didn't do too much good. Marmoush came on, and it was a really weird time at this stage because a few minutes after Marmoush came on, Haaland came off. So we're never going to see the best of Marmoush based on that fact, sadly. At one point, we had like Shirky technically as a striker, and like Marmoush out on the left. He's obviously not like a touchline left-sided player, is he? So we didn't really see too much from Marmoush. There was a decent combination with Marmoush and Reinders and Shirky, which I really liked, to be fair. Was it Reinders? I think it was Reinders. Yes, certainly Shirky. But yeah, he was a little bit quiet. Aside from that, yeah, O'Reilly. O'Reilly's a really interesting one, and this is a really interesting question, isn't it? John, I agree with you, mate. I don't think we should let Rico go. Super interesting question. Super interesting topic to chat about. This sounds really harsh, but I hope that the answer is yes. And again, Bailey did a really good tweet on Twitter, funnily enough. Go follow him if you haven't already done so. He said something like, just take note that Pep could have brought on Gundogan, he could have brought on O'Reilly for Bernardo Silva, and he brought on O'Reilly. To me, I know the game was won by that point. What was the score in the 66th minute? It was 3-0. So yeah, the game's won. I get that. Feyenoord is calling. But still, I do think that is a pretty big statement for the midfield as well. Because he's hardly played in the midfield. Oh, I just dropped that. He's hardly played in the midfield for City. He's played most of his City minutes out at left back. So to me, that was a big statement of intent from Pep, from Nico O'Reilly as well. And again, it sounds mean. We love Gundogan. We love Kovacic, whatever. I think that they have to go. I really, really think that both of them should go. I like Nico O'Reilly's cameo. I want him to get more minutes in the midfield, and that's not going to happen if Pep views Kovacic or Gundogan as ahead of him. Again, maybe I'm reading too much into this, but there was the option. There was the option to play Gundogan left of centre, where we know that's Gundogan's favourite position, and he didn't. Went for O'Reilly instead. And I really hope he does have a future at this club. And we do need to try to get him minutes in the midfield, and the only way that can happen is if he is viewed ahead of Gundogan/Kovacic, because otherwise it ain't going to happen on a near consistent basis. We need to try him in midfield a bit more, see if he can be an option. Can he save City a midfield signing? When Bernardo leaves, do we need to sign a replacement, or can we just say that Nico O'Reilly is actually that midfielder? Who knows? Maybe I'm reading too much into that, but cheeks, that might not be the case. So I was very happy with O'Reilly. And Shirky. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Shame on you if you opted to write him off after his first game, where he was fine, like a 6 out of 10 or something. And you might be saying, Nobbins, that's a bit hyperbolic, isn't it? What's going on? Lots of people did that shit. Lots of people did that. So many people, so many City fans turned on him for zero reason. He then went on to prove people wrong in the Club World Cup. And exactly, IDK, yeah. And we've barely, as I said in my analysis video, we've barely been given a taste, a flavour of what Shirky will do for this football club. What's even more interesting is that we didn't see Shirky and Haaland share the pitch together. We're going to see the best version of Shirky when Haaland's on the pitch, and I think vice versa. It's only going to get better, in my humble opinion. It's only going to get better in that sense. So I'm very, very happy with that and with Shirky. Of course, the goal was wonderful. It's fantastic. And maybe he offers another tactical weapon for City. False 9 option? Question mark. Could that be a thing? I personally don't really want it to happen a lot, but hey, if it's an option, it's better to have it as an option than no option. I'd rather have some options than none. What I would also say, big up to LB for the raid, absolute queen. What I would also say, just going back to the setup from today, 4-3-3 off ball, is this is another way that we can accommodate Haaland and Shirky in the same forward line and not have any concerns about the any pressing concerns. Does that make sense? The 4-3-3 makes it a lot easier to accommodate them both in the same team. So if the 4-3-3 out of possession is what we are continuing to do from now until the end of the season, there's a reason why I've been pushing for it. I really hope that we can do it. Yeah, as I say, big up to LB for the raid. Egg B raid. Absolutely. Absolutely. Check Haaland in Shirky's post saying jerky. I don't know what that means. Trying to play Highline with Gunny, Foden, Marmish, and Reinders. Just very briefly, our Highline was very good today. We caught them offside a lot. Fair play. Where's my new Black City away shirt? I don't think I'm going to be getting any of the City shirts this season. So we've touched on basically all the players. The final two that I want to touch on, though, are the players who may be the most impacted by the potential transfers. And that's what I want to touch on now. I want to touch on Trafford, and I want to touch on Bob, because I think we've covered everyone else, have we? We've covered the in possession. We've covered the out of possession. We've covered why I think that'll be really good long term. I think I've touched on everyone else other than Trafford and Bob. So let's do that now. Let's do that now, shall we? I thought Trafford played really well. He only had some things to do, but he did literally everything perfectly. Which goal was it? IDK, just where Bernardo was. Which goal was it where he got the... Was it the pre-assist or the pre-pre-assist? Which goal was it? Was it the second Haaland goal? I think it may have been. That was lovely. That was Edison-esque in respect of picking out a teammate from his own box. That wasn't just a random punt. It was the third. Thank you, guys. That wasn't just a random punt at all. That was a tailored, deliberate pass to his teammate. And that was fantastic. And I was really, really happy to see that. We're still not 100% what's going to happen with the goalkeeper situation. We assume that Donnarumma is going to come in. But if Trafford does come in and is the number one, then it's really encouraging. It's really encouraging to see that Trafford is indeed able to do that, which does make sense. McAtee to Forest has been confirmed. I'm not going to lie, I thought it was already confirmed, but there we go. Yeah, so good luck to McAtee. I'm sure he'll be lovely. Please don't take Rico Lewis. Let's please keep him at the club. If you join late and you want to know my thoughts on Rico Lewis, go back by about 10 minutes, that sort of thing, because we've touched on Rico a lot. I say a lot of nice things about him. Yeah, so I was really happy that Trafford won. Most impressive save. Again, I thought everything was impressive. The shot stopping was really good. He knew when there was one moment where Wolves were potentially in behind a really clever run. I can't recall who it was. I think it was their striker. Trafford came in, dealt with that again, sweeping like we need to see. I know it was offside, but the shot stopping was still really, really impressive. Commanded his box really nicely as well. A cross came in, Trafford's on it. Love to see that. He's really, really tall, isn't he? And I know that Ederson wasn't short, but Trafford is a little bit taller, and it is noticeable as well. Yeah, the offside save was absolutely fantastic. He had a brilliant pass to Bob, which led to the second goal, says the stuff. Was that not the third? The stuff. But yeah, either way, was really good. I felt really secure. Hashtag I felt safe, says Anik. Absolutely. It did feel really, really encouraging for Trafford at that match. There is a world where that's one of his only league starts. I'm going to give you guys two names. Trafford or the Dom? Who do you guys want to be City's number one next season? Let's assume that happens. Donnarumma comes in, whatever. Actually, no. Just in a vacuum, what would you guys prefer? I'd be very interested to hear, because I think some people have changed their mind. I haven't changed my mind. I still don't really want Trafford as the number one. I was a little bit surprised at what's happening with Ederson, but I'd be interested to know, guys, what do you think? Do you want Trafford? Do you want the Don? Let me know. Let me know what you reckon. Let me know what you reckon. Make sure to leave a like on the video, by the way, guys. There's over 600 people watching. Big up to LB for the raid. And I want us to get to 300 likes, please. They are free. They are free. Thank you very much. Yeah, the Dom. Yeah, we need to get this nickname trending. I can't believe it's not already trending. If not, it's the Don. He's the Don. If he comes, I'll be referring to me as the Don. I'm not calling him Donnarumma. The Don. No to Donald Trump. Donnarumma, says Mohammed. John says Donnarumma. There's a lot more Traffords than I thought there were going to be, to be fair. But that's interesting. Donnarumma's worse than Ederson move, man, says Uzi. I would rather have Trafford. Should have done a poll. I can still do a poll. To be fair, we can do that. We can do that. I will start a poll right now, Jack. Great point. Can mods start polls, by the way? Who would be your number one for City this season? I've given you the highest mod status, Jack, so if not, then the Don or Trafford. Who'd be your preferred number one? Isn't calling him the Don an Italian stereotype? His name is Donnarumma. Like, come on. Even if like Don didn't mean like what it does, like, you know, in like The Godfather or whatever. It looked tidy, I thought, for the most part. We touched on that third goal as well. Wolves didn't really press us that intently, I will say. There were only a few moments. There were only a few. There were only a few moments where that happened. But he did everything that was asked of him. To be honest with you, he did everything that was asked of him. Get your votes in the. Can we start hashtag save Trafford? Get your votes in the poll, and we'll have a look at those results at the end of the stream. Donnarumma, we have food at home, says Bossman. We're still yet to talk about Oscar Bob, so do not go anywhere, guys. Do not go anywhere. And I think that will be important when we touch on Rodrigo also. What do we say about outgoings, says Revant. Hey, Pep said in his pre-match press conference, they know, the players know. They'll know they won't be able to play that much. 22 Trafford still has room to improve the ball at his feet. Oh, of course, there's always room to improve, but he's at least been, taught in the art of Manchester City because he is a youth player. I feel like this is cap. A007. I feel like you're capping me. There's no way that's been said. I refuse to believe that. No way. Why are you lying to me? a messing up, and this guy Coltrane is such a fraud. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. This ain't fair poll. What do you want me to do, though? Hello? Why isn't it fair? Why isn't it fair? What? I said who'd be your preferred number one, the Don or Trafford? Why isn't it fair? Did I phrase the question wrong? Did you want a third option? Should I have included, like, Edison? I don't understand why it's not fair. Yeah. Trafford's the right blend of great shot stopping and solid distribution, says Rowan. Well, if the Don does come in, this is why I want to talk about it. If the Don does come in, you can say goodbye to Trafford starting in the league, because let's all be honest, that is not going to happen, is it? It's not going to happen. So if you Don didn't play. What? Because I actually can't compute. I don't understand what that means. I'm trying so hard. I don't know what that means. Big up to you, Siraj. Doku ain't it. He and Nori not working. Need one more. I don't agree. I've seen it work at the Club World Cup. I saw it work where they swapped and rotated. It was different. We touched on it earlier. Different setup today. Maybe not blessed with the support that we may like to see from that. But it's not about waiting, Makrov. I asked people, like, I don't know what you mean Don didn't play. I think you might be trolling. You must be trolling. There's no way being serious here. There's no way being serious. We did do... so we're going to touch on Bob momentarily now. We did do a watch-along, obviously, ladies and gentlemen. Good news is that we're obviously going to be doing all of the watch-alongs this season, Manchester City, aside from the ones, you know, at the Etihad that are Premier League matches, and that includes a lot of the 3 p.m. kickoffs. We'll be doing watch-alongs for a lot of the 3 p.m. kickoffs. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Nobbins, how are you watching the 3 p.m. kickoffs? What's going on? How are you doing that? What's occurring? What's happening? Well, guys, I'm very happy to say that I have a solution for you, because this stream is very lovely. It's a very lovely thing.
NordVPN,
sponsoring
cybersecurity built
this
for every
stream.
day.
Shout out to Nord for sponsoring this stream. Now, let me tell you why Nord are actually a really good product and why you should actually consider utilizing them. The first thing I want to say is that, being very sincere here, I have only accepted 3 sponsorships in my YouTube career. I receive hundreds of emails over like the course of a season, saying like, will you sponsor this? Will you do this? And I turn basically all of them down because I do not believe in the product, and I therefore do not want to suggest that to you guys. However, I do genuinely believe in NordVPN, and I have genuinely been using it for the past few days, and I will be using it this season in order to watch the 3 p.m. kickoffs. If you guys want to join your boy and watch those 3 p.m. kickoffs as well, you can't do that in this country, sadly, because of the blackout rule. Thankfully, I have a lovely code for you guys to use. It's in the pinned comment. It's also at the top of the description of this video. nordvpn.com/LNobbins, so you can get NordVPN, a 2-year plan plus 4 months extra, or you can scan this little QR code that I have made in order to access Nord really quickly. It's not just, even though they're called NordVPN, it's not just a VPN service. You guys know I was hacked recently as well. Wasn't ideal. NordVPN I've therefore been changing all of my passwords. NordVPN have a password manager system, so you can store loads of passwords really safely. They've got an ad blocker feature. They've also got a dark web feature, which is really important to me because I had my email hacked and I was concerned that my personal information may have got out there, whatever, onto the dark web, whatever you want to say. Thankfully, thanks to NordVPN's dark web tracker, I was able to be assured that it wasn't there. If you guys are interested in watching some 3 p.m. Matches, or if you want to watch, US Netflix and you're in England, that sort of thing, really genuinely try out NordVPN. Not only with this code, NordVPN nordvpn.com/LNobbins, not only do you get 2 years plus 4 months, you also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. So there's literally no reason to not give it a go. Click the link. That also supports the channel as well, by the way. So click the link, give them a go, and if they aren't for you, no worries. You can easily just ask for your money back. 30-day guarantee. Shout out to NordVPN for sponsoring this video. Again, I truly believe in the product. Otherwise, I would not be suggesting it and recommending it to you guys. Online safety is really important, as I've learnt, and why should we have to rely on like dodgy, illegal streams to watch 3 p.m. games? That's not fair. NordVPN's got you covered. That was indeed all off the top of my head as well. None of that was scripted. I'm very genuine. That is the wrong button I have pressed. Thank you, Nord. Oscar Bob, that's what I want to talk about now. Last but not least, and then I want to wrap this up because Mrs. Nobbins is waiting for me for date night, and I'm already over. What channel do you plan to use to watch once the VPN is on? I personally use a Romanian site. It's called Prima Play. Do your own research, and you can find ones which are slightly cheaper, but I do genuinely use Nord. I do genuinely use Prima Play in order to watch 3 p.m. games. So when we do the watch-alongs, that is what I use. It's only like a $5 a month, and you get everything. You get literally everything. Yeah? Everything. And again, it's not just, I know that the sponsor's now over, it's not just a VPN, it's got everything you want. It's not just a VPN. It's also going to look after your online safety. And again, dark web searches and all that stuff. If you want to find out how much it is, again, 2 years plus 4 months free, click that link in the pinned comment, guys. Let's go back to the video for a moment. Yeah, Oscar Bob, and this will be where we wrap it up, was absolutely brilliant. So wonderful, so good. The twinkle toes are absolutely insane. He's clearly he was so blatantly, obviously going to be our starting right winger last season. Blackout rule: people in England can't watch 3 p.m. kickoffs in this country, essentially. He was always going to be our starting right winger last season, but for that broken leg, and Savio had to come in and be the starting right winger. Yes, silky, absolutely, he was a silky boy, a silky queen, as we say, a silky queen and a silky king. Yeah. Now, of course, I was always going to reserve judgment on Bob because the sample size isn't great, but I knew he was a baller. I do think Bob probably has the higher ceiling, to be honest with you. Remember, he's not a right winger. Like, that is not his best position. His best position is going to be in the center of the pitch. The fact he's able to do this shit is insane. Now, we did get a lot of support, of course, like whether it was Lewis or Reinders, as we touched on, compared to Doku on that left side, maybe less so. But make no mistake, like, Oscar Bob is ready to start for a Manchester City side going for the title. 100% he is ready. 100%. Now, does that mean I think he should start week in, week out? No, not necessarily, because I'd personally have Shirky in that position and have Nunes as the right back. But if you're having a game where you can't have Nunes at right back, and if we're losing Savio, then based on City's current squad, the only viable option there, unless Nunes is on the pitch, is to have Oscar Bob there. The only viable option. That's the thing. And I was so happy for him. But as with the Trafford conversation, if we bring in Rodrigo, and I'm not going to comment on whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, because you guys know my thoughts on everything. People twist my words, and I can't be bothered repeating myself. I don't think he's a shit player. I think he's a brilliant player. He's a very good player. People keep twisting my words on this. But if we bring in Rodrigo, And if he plays where he should play, which is right wing, based on City's options on the left, he should primarily play on the right, then that is obviously going to massively derail Oscar Bob's development, and he's not going to become the first starting option out on that right side anymore. So that is a little bit of a concern I have if we do indeed bring in Rodrigo, and if indeed he does play on the right, because it would be such a shame to not allow Bob to flourish like he clearly can. Like he clearly can. And that's such a shame to me. That's such a shame to me because, again, players like Trafford, Bob, are they going to be starters with the Don, with Rodrigo playing off the right? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think you can bring in Rodrigo and play him off the right and expect it to not massively derail Bob and his development. He's at the stage of his career now. He needs minutes because he's young, but at the same time, based on the amount of senior football he's played, he's barely played any. He's 22 years old. He needs to be starting now, relatively consistently. And it would be a shame if a signing derailed that development, as I say. And if we do bring in Rodrigo, once again, he should definitely be playing more so on the right based on the options City have off the left. Otherwise, I don't think it makes sense. But again, that is to the detriment of Bob. And if he doesn't play right wing, then that might be even worse. Because it'll be at the detriment to someone else who's better. And that's even weirder. Even weirder to me. But there we go, guys. That was the match. Wonderful, 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 happy times. I'm a happy boy. Nobbins is a happy boy. Big test up next. It's up against Spurs, right? It's up against Spurs. Big test. But this team can get better. Add Rodri into this team. Add Foden into this team. Add Marmoush into this team. Add Gvardiol into this team. Even like Nunes into this team. And we're potentially looking at something quite special. Potentially. I don't think it's correct for lots of people to write us off. I really think we're going to be in this title race. I really do think that. I truly hope you have enjoyed today's video. Once again, shout out to NordVPN for sponsoring this video. Do give them a go. Click the link in the pinned comment or in the video description. nordvpn.com/LNobbins if you want to get that VPN access, change your location, have better internet security, and enjoy foreign content that you would be geographically unable to do. Like if you're in a foreign country, you want to watch BBC. If you're not in England, you want to watch the BBC, you can do that. For example, you want to watch US Netflix in the UK, you can do that. I've been having a lot of fun with it, as you can tell. I've been having a lot of fun with using it and like seeing all these other things that these different streaming services have to offer and such. Thank you everyone so much. I'm back. The season's back. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling happy. I'm in a good mood, RE content. Love that from you, Johnny. Check it out, mate. Make sure to use that link, Johnny. Otherwise, Nord will shout at me. They will shout at me and they will go, this Nobbins guy is a fraud and he wasn't worth this sponsorship. So do that for me, mate. Love that from you. Thank you guys again. Big up to you all. Big up to your mothers. Tell her I said hi. I'll see you next time. Goodbye, guys.